What is going on? TFRlive.com. It is Zerilath. It is 6 p.m. Sunday on the East Coast. It is July 31st, last day of July, as we're trucking through Leo season. How's it going, everybody? Happy birthday to all Leos out there. This is Zerilath on Trigenesis here on TFRlive.com. And today I do have a guest. He gave me the thumbs up about 20 minutes ago that he's going to be here, but he's got to hop onto the Skype and all that stuff. He didn't tell me he was having Skype problems. I don't know what's up, but we're going to have a guest today. Hopefully he shows up, before the end of the first segment, so we have plenty of time to talk. And my guest is going to be, fate's willing, because I don't know why he wasn't like ready to go 5 of or something. But Sean Bond. I discovered Sean Bond through YouTube. He did an interview segment on the Black Earth Productions YouTube channel with my colleague Sethicus Boza a while back, and they talked, and I became impressed with what Sean Bond is and is about, starting from that point, and listened to him and watched him and his channel grow and develop and do really cool and interesting things. They've been an inspiration to me. If you're listening to me and you follow my YouTube channel, the most influential that Sean has been on my content was when I did my Loki review series. I think I gave Sean a shout out, and if I didn't, I'm doing it now. Sean was a major inspiration to me bothering to go watch it, because he was able to confirm that the show was actually doing some good soft disclosure, and it was. Look, dude, Loki was kind of on the weak side, but compared to Multiverse of Madness, it was like Shakespeare. It's like I came out of Multiverse of Madness saying, like, you threw all these elements at me. I suppose maybe there was soft disclosure in it, but it was so disconnected. Right? It's something's happened with Hollywood in a funky way, and not that Hollywood's important, but it is fascinating to think about those things. I do want to talk to Sean a little bit about some of these things, because he knows a thing or two about interdimensional warfare and time warfare. He's got some fascinating stuff going on with him. Hang on a second. How you doing? I'm talking about you now. All right. It looks like Sean's about to respond. I have here, his website is PsionicLeague.com. Okay, he's having some internet difficulties, but he says he'll be in with me in a second. All right, so all right, hopefully that all works out, because he hasn't. He didn't go. I gave him like my Skype stuff like a day or two ago. He hadn't added me yet, so he's gonna add me now, basically. But let me read through the introductions here. And so I'm gonna lift this right from the Psionic League website. So the Psionic League and Silver Cord Spiritual Science. So this page welcomes you to the Psionic League Spiritual Science. Sean Bond is the founder of Psionic League and Silver Cord Spiritual Science. They are spiritual healers who aid others in holistic healing and spiritual growth. Now, in the About section, we get into some of the finer details. Hold on a second. Where is it? Okay, I'm sorry. There we go. So, Sean is a problem solver, spiritual conduit for teaching others about multidimensional awareness and interaction with all their individual DNA technologies, higher functions, and operation systems within anyone's soul sparks, shards of their multidimensional self, to help them manifest in the physical. He does past life readings, DNA readings, past life regressions, Akashic record readings. He is a licensed massage therapist, pain release, trigger point therapy, myofascia released, chakra balancing, Reiki master healing, and entity removal, and more. ... Sean is skilled at accessing the user manual for DNA technology of the body to track issues back to the point of origin in order to resolve any problem happening to the body and may be accused or accessed by organic spiritual technology within each individual. I assist in creating operating systems to help individuals manifest dormant abilities that unlock their psychic potential and upgrade the body's energy systems. Yeah, so like this kind of thing I'm all about. I absolutely love all the conceptualizations with human body technology. Up until last year, my primary things had been, certain levels of emotional maturity development, then spirituality all together, right? And then I spent a long time on that in the rabbit hole, everything else. And right now I've been parking that for a while as I've needed to compensate and catch up with very good energies for it in this age, with the physical, the prime materia, right? So all this exercise I've been doing, if you've been following me on YouTube, I just scaled Breakneck Ridge in Hudson, New York. I'm going to repeat this because I want to ask Sean if he's ever been there, because Sean's he's kind of local. Not loco, but local. But and with all the I've gone through a lot of weight loss through exercise, right? And I was always going to exercise, but I was literally putting all of that time management at the time into pursuing the music, and I had to stop pursuing the music just based on what 2020 was. But then I had to still keep working because what was originally a debt I had well under control, I was really losing grip of. I was really starting to lose grip of it in 2019. 2020 just made things so much worse, right? And so I kept going until I was forced to be unable to go. And then by October of 21, after spending a long time not knowing what to do to fix any problems, that had been caused by the economic devastation of 2020, and the threat of unemployment. This is, made by your personal decisions in 2021. It took me a long time to reach that point. And then I put in a lot of hard work and effort into putting this together. All right, so I'm still waiting on Sean. Let me see if okay, not yet. We'll see when Sean gets his stuff together. It wouldn't shock me that a conversation with me on this network with him, this caliber, it's not a shocker to me that there would be, at the very least, the tech gremlins. I believe the tech gremlins exist. I believe the tech gremlins are responsible for the prior Tartaria interview I did on Quantum Connections with Lucky. Shout out to Lucky One. And we had to redo that about last week or so. About 2 weeks ago, maybe now. Because last week I covered some Tartarian material. Granted, I went way back. I went pre-Tartarian. Because I wanted to explain to you that it's a continuity occulted that is caked on top of a different continuity that was occulted. So it's crazy, right? You're not going to agree on the concept of Tartaria if you can't even agree on the concept of the antediluvian age. Right? If you don't have a unified idea of what was like before the full continuity break, because we built an entire continuity break that we let scientism just say a bunch of effing monkeys were monkeying around forever until we were hunting and gathering and too stupid to figure out how to work with stone or some dumb idea like that. Yeah. Yes, I am. Hold on, I'm talking. I'm gonna tell. Yes, I'm live right now. And I was just saying it doesn't shock me. There is a glitch. Yeah. Okay, hold on. Let me give him the haha. He's gonna have to use the phone. Let's see. Listener call. There we are. All right. Can I highlight that? That should work. Okay. Conference. Oh wait, can he call in? Shoot. Conference in progress. Conference pending. Crap. I forget if the. Oh my god. I can't. I can't remember if the phone works properly, but try. If not, we can FaceTime. We can FaceTime. I share audio. Actually, yeah, let me just do this. Hold on a second. Okay. Hang on a second, guys. And I gotta flip the audio over here. There we go. Bear with the number, just in case. Gotta have one of these situations. It's okay. I accuse the tech rep.
Hey, can you hear me?
Ah, there he is. Sean, hi.
Hi.
Hey, there you are. I was just telling you in there, I'm accusing the tech gremlins of this one. I was sharing with everybody that when it comes to these kinds of things that happen, that there's often some sort of glitch that sounds like it's interference from beyond. So
Yeah, you're breaking up. You're like a robot to me.
Yeah, I'm on the air. You can hear me well?
A little bit now, but like it's cutting in and out, and
Cutting in and out?
some robot voice kind of stuff.
Oh, robot voice kind of stuff. Hold on. Let me call it back real quick. It's probably just
I'm down.
Yeah.
Or is
Hold
it
on.
just really bad?
Okay, hold on. All right. We'll fix this. We will fix it. Let me close that and call it again. Okay, how's it sound now? Better?
Yeah, it's better in a different part. But yeah, is it? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I'm so like I'm on Skype and FaceTime at the same time and sharing sound. So I think everything should be good. The audience, if there is an audience tonight, should be able to hear you. I have a pretty humble show, so like there's usually not too many people, if anybody, in the chat room, so it's hard to get feedback. I'm a little bit more popular on YouTube, I think, funny enough. But thank you so much for being here. You honor me, sir.
Oh, thank you for having me on.
For sure.
So yeah, there's some interesting glitches going on. I was hearing you in robot voice before, and it was all slowed down.
Yeah, probably just a latency issue. That's kind of a common weird thing that happens with my computer. I know how to fix that. That's kind of like a normal error, you know. So the rest of the show should go smooth, at least on my end.
Oh, I'm hearing it.
Oh, is it coming in bad again?
And yeah. And my internet's down, so
Right.
can you hear me okay there?
I do seem to hear you pretty okay.
Okay, sweet. I'll get my stuff and just like whatever, we can have a conversation outside. What kind of stuff did you want to go into?
All right. Well, I was letting the audience know what you were about. I was on the PsionicLeague website and I read your bio and the mission statement of PsionicLeague, and I wanted to just off the start, just to go through the basic introductions, right? So, like, I went through that whole overview, but you have a whole backstory to your qualifications that I've watched. I've watched a lot of the work about from your older material on your YouTube channel, and I know that that you were tapped by some very interesting people along, like a while. I mean, you're a young guy, but but it almost sounds like this was a while ago. The way you talk about it, but then again, you don't talk about time as linearly as even I do.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's I get a lot of compressed time, and that especially the my teen and 20 time period, but like in physical and dreams that last for years, and a lot of so just like waking up, it's like whatever. It's like how long it's been,
Yeah. So you've had like Narnia style dreams where like you go to sleep for like 8 hours, but you dreamt like a 10-year experience kind of thing.
yeah, in other realms, and
Yeah.
ones that like somewhat. Well, there's a lot of them. I can like talk for hours about them, but
For sure.
if that's what you want to talk about with them.
Yeah,
Like
that's
I had
definitely in the wheelhouse of things that I wanted to talk about, and like with somebody who's got the talents and the gifts that you have, because you like watching your YouTube, I see what you do, and I think what you're doing is incredible. What you can do is incredible. I love the information and how that's been just so helpful. I was mentioning to the audience how I first heard about you through Black Earth Productions. That's when I first heard you, was through the Sethicus Boza interview, and I'm colleagues with Sethicus. I asked him if he would listen in. He's always busy. He'll catch it in the archives or something. But shout out to Black Earth Productions and Sethicus Boza as well.
exactly. Yeah, he's in the league. He's awesome.
Yeah, he's great. He's great, and I'm Blue Flame myself. But yeah, so tell people a little bit about your origin story, about the discovery of your gifts, or the bestowment of your gifts, or however it all manifested for you, to understand like what makes you you.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, I'd also love to hear your origin story
Thank
and
you.
how you
I will.
woke up, if that's possible. Okay. Yeah, so I've always been like into some interesting things whenever I get them introduced to me, but this life I decided to go through all the humdrum and the beating up of the sleep spell, to become like normal people.
Hmm.
And then also I like being connected and friends with all the different social groups, and like learning their pieces of the puzzle.
Hmm.
It's like part of my personality is that unfolds more into my awareness. A lot of people's personalities have to do with who they've been, what they've done, and all these other things with past lives. But mine, uh, I go through the life of like how everyone else goes through. School kind of gets you matrix oriented into their belief system. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like a little burst of wake ups throughout, up to my, but like ultimately just getting distracted with many subjects, because nobody really wants to talk about the really interesting things like what we dream, why we're here, who we are, and like going deeper into like what this game is. So I'd eventually just stop talking about it with people, but like with myself and creating it in childhood, it got bigger and bigger. But then around 17, there's like a big wake up period, and like a bunch of ones after that, because it propels you as you search for it, the truth of the reality and who you are.
Yeah.
At 17, I had like passed me at a party synthetic cannabis. I think it was like K2 or something, and I don't recommend that. I didn't know it was that. I thought it was just like a natural thing. Nobody told me anything, so that like
right.
caused a big event where I in one of my physical form passing out. It would maybe look like, I don't know, I ended up in another room by the time I woke up, and my state of consciousness was like compressed into some type of void mental prison hell realm of endless void type of thing, with multiple creations by a whole bunch of negative predators within the prison besides myself that were taking me in and out of dream programmed realms that they had constructed to harvest me of energy, break me apart, and harvest a whole bunch of abilities, energy, and authority from my soul, and then fractured me into like millions of pieces, and then had them go through their own dream realms of entrapment, belief, memory loss, seeing it like I wasn't in a prison, and just in normal life, and then having me go through traumas with family members and friends, and things to cause me to want to force open and activate an ability to like either heal them or save myself, or outcreate a near-death experience, and then burst a bunch of rare types of energy that would then just be hosted off of them.
So you kind of had
might be reset if I remember.
Right. So it's kind of like, like as a wee child, you had a certain first level of like exceptional like activations of abilities that then unfortunately had to go through a suppression cycle, and there was a bit of and they kind of put you through a little bit of psychic trauma, whether on purpose or by accident at first. Does that sound right? I don't want to put words in your mouth. I'm just trying to guess.
It all propelling me to learn methods for each type of trauma healing method, and then use that and see that a large amount of other people are dealing with similar from many other causations in their life or other lives or down their family lineage, and then finding ways to overcome those problems for them and release the blocks and open up their dormant abilities and find the solutions for this realm and why we're here in this game.
Yeah.
And like making it a better place.
Yeah.
As well as a lot of reclaiming of myself and parts and abilities and authority from these predators, and been again very passionate about the blueprints and what it takes to form these abilities and get them in knowingness fairly quickly and download once I integrate apart. And then so I have a lot of abilities, so I just teach people those two, as well as learn how to hunt down and capture predators, as well as from my time in there.
Yeah. So you could put demon hunter, demon hunter on your resume. You're the Witcher. You're the Witcher, Sean. That's what it is. You're like 25% autist.
Yeah, a lot of people that come here to this planet, one of the purposes they have are to hunt down things that targeted the people they love.
Yeah.
So I can help bring them the abilities to do it. And I like combining it with love tech and like seeing the intricateness of the soul of each one of these predators and why they become that way. And they're like fractured, they're stolen from, they lost their light and their ability to create love. So I learn how to turn those on for them, and then they change in personality and become back to their original purpose and self, and realize that they are everyone, and why would you want to keep harming yourself, kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure. Like does this include the psychopath, or is a psychopath in a unique situation?
You can heal a psychopath. No one's too far gone. It takes a large level of knowingness and like learning how to turn the emotional body back on their experience, so they can sense into other people, feel them as if they're them, so they don't treat them.
Hang on a second, Sean. We're hitting our first break. 3 minutes. 3 minutes.
My hero. That's who I chase. Now, when I was 15 years old, I had a very important person in my life come to me and say, "Who's your hero?" And I said, "I don't know. I got to think about that. Give me a couple of weeks." I come back 2 weeks later. This person comes up and says, "Who's your hero?" I said, "I thought about it. You know who it is?" I said, "It's me in 10 years. So I turned 25 10 years later. That same person comes to me and goes, "So are you a hero?" And I was like, "Not even close." No. She said, "Why?" I said, "Because my hero is me at 35. So you see, every day, every week, every month, and every year of my life, my hero's always 10 years away. I'm never going to be my hero. I'm not going to attain that. I know I'm not. And that's just fine with me, because that keeps me with somebody to keep on chasing." So to any of us, whatever those things are, whatever it is we look up to, whatever it is we look forward to, and whoever it is we're chasing, to that I say amen. To that I say, all right. And to that I say, just keep living, huh?
It's amazing how people have been raving about Aya Life all over Facebook. They've been posting their testimonials just because they want to get the word out, because it's worked so well for them. If you're not familiar with Aya Life, it's a 99% pure CBD oil. But the secret is the synergy between the hemp and the ayahuasca vine, the non-psychoactive component of the ayahuasca tea. We recently received an email from a wife whose husband has Parkinson's. For the first time, he's been able to sleep through the entire night. Another customer reported that they're no longer using NSAIDs because their tennis elbow has been relieved with Aya Life. The reports have been phenomenal and much more than we ever expected. Everyone should have access to this. That's why if you head on over to ayalife.com right now and use coupon code TFR, we'll give you $5 towards your order. And we'll even ship it worldwide. That's ayalife.com. AYAlife.com.
Once in a decade, a true story comes along that remembers the future. After 6 Amazon bestsellers, I have completed the epic Birth Trilogy, a true story of Earth. By reading the Birth Trilogy, you will journey with the characters from the origin of Earth to its final destiny in a white-knuckle ride that combines the intrigue of Tom Clancy with the epic scope of Prometheus and Interstellar. You will learn more about the purpose of life, the mystery of death, and the true nature of your soul than you thought possible. The Birth Trilogy is now available on Amazon and Kindle. The audio version is a free bonus when you buy the paperback, so even if you're not a great reader, don't worry about it. I read it for you. Use the Amazon app today and buy the Birth Trilogy, spelled B-E-A-R-T-H, or search for my name. I'm Brooks Agnew.
This is Truth Frequency Radio.
No hate, no hype, no fear. Real people, real radio.
Right, and we are live again. Whoops, hold on. Let me put the, I gotta put the share, gotta put the share audio back on. Where did that go? Where's my share audio button? There it is. Share audio, start sharing. Fantastic. All right, so welcome back, everybody. Steve Zerilath here on Trigenesis, TFRLive.com. Today, I've got a very special guest, Sean Bond of the Psionic League, YouTube channel, PsionicLeague.com, and the spiritual cord science. Wait, did I get that title right? I'm trying to remember.
Silver cord spiritual science.
Silver cord spiritual science, and we were just talking a little bit about the origins of Sean's abilities. I was commenting on some of my pickup of my assessment of what it was like, because like I'm listening to you and I'm just like, you're pulling that answer right from deep within at heart center, and it's I'm sitting there, I'm just like, I got to confirm what I think I'm hearing him say, and that's largely because it echoes in a different way, not as traumatic but also not as powerful. And I was so sorry to interrupt you, because I know you can't hear the break quite well over the FaceTime situation that we are making this operate under, but please continue where you left off before the break interrupted.
Thank you. Yeah, no problem. Let's see.
You were talking about, I asked you about psychopath recovery in your work, and you were talking about that.
Sure. Thank you for bringing my memory back to that.
Sure.
Yeah, anyone can be healed. I have seen really far gone beings, but it's mostly about level of healing tech you have to overcome them. There are ancient problems of really big multidimensional predators and perpetuators of the cycles of evil and atrocities that infect DNA technology to orient to evolution of a technology of a person's body to shut down their emotional body and cause them to not have empathy with others.
Right.
And that also will go along with the targeting of the spirit that's deciding to incarnate into a DNA lineage, but can either be targeted through the DNA or the spirit or both. There's a way to heal them. It's just not that easy.
Right.
They're like
yeah. Now that I'm even listening to you talking about it, because I listened to all of your interviews with Douglas Dietrich, who a long time ago we used to talk a couple of times because we were both on Revolution Radio. I've been on his show. He was on my show at the time. I said something that was insensitive and it tarnished our relationship, and I could tell he was going through a lot of hard stuff, and I'm going through my weird learnings, undoing my issues that were stemmed in Christian like mindsets that were incorrect about things and all that stuff, and to the point where I'm like, oh wait, Doug was like quarter vampire and he's a psychopath hunter. So it's almost like good cop bad. So like I could see you two teaming up and it'd be like, okay, Doug, let me save him. If he says no, you can eat him, right? Like that's what I'm thinking now. It's hysterical. So if Doug's listening, Doug, hi, my friend. I miss you. I'm so glad you're doing well, looking good, and kicking ass. Anyway, continue.
Yeah, everyone's got an interesting story on them, and like personalities that shift and show up in their biophoton emissions that spell a lot about their personality, and everyone's got things. And yeah, there's a lot of things trying to divide everyone. My personal thing is, it's like, whatever other people have in drama, it's not, don't worry about it. My goal is to try to unite the planet to light and dark, to try to throw off the parasites that are of real deception, evil, and monkey wrenching everyone, and then there's a lot of misconceptions and stuff. So it's like whatever, and then people got wounds and they're full of pain, so blame whoever's nearby for anything. And it's whatever. So how's your origin story, by the way?
My origin story. Let me be as brief as possible because this is your time to shine, my friend. But the thing, the highlights of it, right? Because I didn't know for a long time that I didn't see the world or come to the same conclusions about the world that was normal with other people. And I really was completely resistant to being changed until people sat down and gave me an extreme demonstration in length of time of complete understanding of why I should do something or be something, or should not do something or be something. And it was in such a way with my way that it put me through a lot of bad situations growing up, whether it would be respecting my parents or whatever. So I went through a whole lot of turmoil that was ultimately in reflection to all of that. It was just like I had certain levels of something in my heart center activation that was there that I couldn't let go of. It was just like, why does this world want to take this away from me? Right. And like, it's sort of hard for me to like articulate it, but like, there's like a core nugget that in my heart center that I can trace back to being born, right? To being like there's a certain feeling, there's a certain way that I experience this world that I like, that feels good, that feels right, that feels like it's connected to higher purposes. And I'm not on camera, so come on through. And the life that I lived, the way my thinking was, and all that stuff, it took me a long time to realize that the main reason why I was having so many problems with everybody was always doing things wrong, getting yelled at about stuff and all that stuff, is that like, you're not like them. You're not like them, right? And that became the most painfully obvious to me after 9/11, when I got like, by 2003, I was like, a couple hairs off of an Alex Jones mindset. And it was looking at all this occult stuff, this relationship with the paranormal and the government, seeing how the same entities were all tied like that. That's when I started sitting there saying, maybe the X-Files, which I already sort of thought was true, but didn't worry about it. Maybe I should be worried about it. And so, I got into ufology as well as aspects of what their occult stuff was, because I was always hearing about all the Masons and this and Crowley and that and everything else. I loved Douglas Dietrich because Douglas worked for Aquino, and I learned a lot about the military's interests in the occult through many of the things that he talked about on his show on Rev Radio, which and it was a great show. He talked always about, like he talked about like terrible things that he did, and is remorseful of, and all these different things. I'm just like, yeah, he's going. I give him redemption. If I was in charge of redemption, I'd forgive him. I think he's doing good things, right? So I loved listening in, for that reason. And all this stuff was giving me this big idea of like, what? Let's fight fire with fire. If these are dark magi, I want to be a light magi. and that put me on my path of that focused in my spiritual path. And then at a certain point, I had a pagan awakening, and I was able to really narrow things down that was harmonious to my heart center, right? And that's a very brief overview. We like there's a whole arc of how I left Christianity involved. Like there's so many details in there, and I did, and I dealt with a lot of harsh treatment as a child because I was a bit out of control. Hi, I'm an Aries. Continue. Thank you, Sean.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you for using those words, and that will resonate with a lot of people. I also resonate with that, and I also had similar effects of the wake up and the rabbit hole diving and deciding to become a light magi. Yeah, I also wanted to go into all religions and spiritual groups to see like what the gold nugget of wisdom, while knowing they have some type of alterations and mind control put in to attach and limit and bind and hold back from the spiritual person from expanding to all the wisdom, and then seeing where it meshes in the experiences passed down by individuals to find out what is true and expose the lies and the dogma. Yeah, and a lot of that pathway has shown me the empowering stuff, the limitless stuff, the things that don't hold you back or argue for our own limitation, like in science and a lot of other groups and religions that want to stop you from finding out who you and everyone truly is, and with the connection with the all, and then reconnecting and bringing what they were and have and can do to the amnesia, past the amnesia barrier of coming and incarnating on this planet.
Yeah.
And choosing to be our greatest self to, manifest that heaven on earth.
For sure. And it really has to start with the healing, because I can see in many respects, I've equated it to who controls like the military, who has their hands on the nuke, like the metaphorical nuke. I barely believe that nukes exist. I suppose that they do. Because people are so damaged, you can worry a little bit. It's almost like the Second Amendment argument, right? You give some guy, you unlock, you can teach them as a healer, but you're unlocking something very core about how you move your energy around and how you operate magic on a principle level. And they can take that neutral foundation and make dark choices with it if they're a damaged person. So you got to heal them. You got to heal society before you give it to them. Just like you don't want a psychopathic nation with the leverage to wipe a city off of a planet. You kind of don't want to give a damaged person the powers until they're healed and whole.
I agree. Yeah, I've seen that with a lot of people. When I have dark people want to have a session with me, I'll find my higher self gives me a stream of information on what's acceptable to give them first, because it's definitely what they're allowed in building blocks as they build up their strong foundation root and to reach deep into their heart eventually and get past the barrier of the solar plexus. Which most negative, dark, or evil beings will be limited to the root chakra of expression, survival, trying to get into thrival and what it takes to be in a predatory environment and defending themselves and attacking and being a predator abilities, while then going into their sacral, and then the solar plexus is mostly what they're able to do. And there's always a barrier to evolving past the predator if they want to get into their heart, to where they access the real deep origin technology.
Yeah, absolutely. I learned early on in my metaphysical studies just being able to gauge somebody's chakra levels like that, and exactly what you said, that's like exactly the formula of energy setting that they want you at. That's like when you're talking about the normie types, et cetera, that's basically where they're at. But a lot of them do have good hearts, but it's a heart that's very disconnected from the rest of the spiritual system, right? But they're good, they're feeling people. I'm absolutely an empath, and I've worked very hard at turning that into something that has, concentrated power, and I can hold an emotional field very well right now. With 2020 being one of the greatest shakes, like I felt a complete attack on my nervous system just hearing what the world was going to program itself to do. It felt, it's like a spirit that I had to resist getting inside of me, and my nervous system just tensed up for like that entire 15 days to suck your dick, or whatever the hell they called it in the beginning, right? So so the whole thing, the whole thing was an attack on the root chakra as a whole. That the toilet paper crisis was meant to be your hint, your tell that yes, we're trying to close your root chakra down. We want you all the way off, right? And you could see it in the fluoridated mask zombies. They were all the way off. They were operating at like practically below root chakra level, with their eyes kind of down the head, the shame, all through a shame ritual. It was such black magic, I wanted to vomit.
I agree. Like you hit on the head on the nail. Yeah, I watched that too. It's very sickening. It's interesting how it played out, and I agree with you. It like drops everyone in whatever state of consciousness they were before the pandemic down into survival, overwhelm them with fear, and challenge their immune system to such a degree with bioweapons that have been talked about for centuries in the royal families and leadership of different countries, orchestrating them and making all these bio facilities that and gain of function crap is, it's not gain of function, it's just adding DNA that makes it more weaponized for able to infect humans, whatever. And then we the definition of immune system change, the definition of vaccines, the definition of all these things.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It's like whatever they're not comfortable with, they just change so that
right. And it's just like with the whole perception on political correctness, right? Like it's indicative of the force of energy going on the left-hand path in the elitist system of politics. The progressives, well, this is the progression of language to change the culture, which is why they did things and took the OK symbol and said it was racist. It's just like, dude, what if I'm doing a mudra? What the hell is like? They would have taken a picture of a monk doing a mudra and called him an effing Nazi in 2016, and somebody would have believed it, who would have passed a law. That's how crazy we have been. Right? And that was just in the social atmosphere. Look at what they did now in the legal atmosphere. Right? And there's a psychic connection there that has to be changed.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, it's funny seeing like the new age love and lighters pretend that all this didn't happen and that they're saying to avoid the darkness and just stay away from it or don't add to it. Like, you're creating it. It kind of
right.
The whole logic just blows up.
Well,
because,
yeah,
there's a lot of belief and stuff that we inherit from DNA and aspect to the hologram that we're not like just thinking about it or believing it doesn't just make it so. There's a lot more going on in manifestation.
Yeah. Well, for a long time, it was that grift of the law of attraction that got applied to this. Well, like I was always on the fence about how that book worked, whatever it was called, The Truth or whatever it's called.
A lot of it's true.
The Secret.
Putting it deeply.
A lot of it is absolutely true. Yeah. But like
the solipsistic. Sorry, this is a delay.
No, go ahead.
A lot of infiltration of like solipsism and going into the satanic churches that want to invert everything and then get it to where we disempower ourselves and don't do the shadow work that needs done.
Well, it had a lot to do with becoming a money church because it played down on the spiritual to be accessible to a lot of people. And I saw it following the same patterns as people that go to these big tent churches that like they give them $1,000 and then they say God gave them $1 million next month. Right. It's this kind of phenomenon. And when 2020 happened, I looked at it. The concept of them pulling off that particular psyop, amongst other things, I said, no way. Like, I didn't give it any energy at all because they say in The Secret and all that stuff, and I kind of understood that. Don't even say not because the universe doesn't understand the word no. The point is that it heard you say pandemic, right? And I realized that what law of attraction was doing was just reinstating the paranoia of superstition, and it was basically trying to demature what occult studies was trying to tell you, because in the occult sciences there are more detailed rules and your path and whatever you're studying may not be 100% correct. It could be a distortion, like the path of the 12578 is a distortion path. The 396 plus the 0 is kind of the prime. Stop me if you disagree with that. But the manifestation process, like they give you whole things, right? And the New Age movement is adverse to ritual. All of a sudden when you start talking about ritual, they feel like, oh well, we're not witches, it's just like they leave that to the Wiccans, right? The Wiccans are just like, it's just Jewish magic for white people. But anyway, continue. No offense to the Jews.
You said that really well, and there's a lot going on with it, and I'd say like don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, but definitely look for any deception and keep looking for more information on topics from different perspectives to like break apart any dogmas that are hard to see, and it go into limitation. Like I believe in law of attraction aspects, and I don't think they have the entire equation in the book or the movie at all. And there's a bunch of people coming out and adding more. I also tune into things that will amplify the tech. It's a leveling up ability.
Yeah.
It's not like everyone has the ability on high or anything. Some people have had it activated to a high level where they just manifest shit. Mm-hmm. And sometimes they manifest hell because of what they're thinking, and they have to get control of their thoughts fast.
Yeah.
But it would be, there's also settings you can make, like a window of opportunity to program when you want your specific thoughts to apply to manifestation, and then having your normal process be not into manifestation, as well as, because it can get dangerous if you don't have full control of your thoughts when that's on high. But
right, like it was a perfect example with the Secret movement. It was a perfect example of somebody knowing not enough, but just enough to be dangerous.
Yeah, it's definitely a manifesting shotgun. But people shouldn't be afraid of it, because manifesting is one of the bigger things people need to learn. And navigate, and there's a lot to it. There's
Yeah.
the emotions of like being in a high positive, happy, joyous, loving emotional state, which takes enlightenment of detaching from all the weight that holds down their hot air balloon and taking off into the receiving state of being, as well as taking care of all origins of negative thoughts in their being, as well as the ego, the shadow, the alters, the attachment, telepathy, past lives, all this kind of stuff that like adds to the field of their thought bubbles.
We got about 30 seconds before the break kicks in. So I've got a lot of little thoughts about that too, right? And I want to make sure that I am running this in a way where we're getting a lot of really. I want to make sure that new ideas are being brought forth, because I know that a lot of people have talked a lot about like the Buddhist application of things into our into a whole metaphysical principle. But here's the break. We'll be right back in about 3 minutes.
Hi, my name is Ella, and I'm 10 years old. I'm one of the millions of children born to parents suffering from the sheeple virus. Symptoms include the inability to think for oneself, the attention span of a goldfish, and a strong belief in government and the mainstream media. It is estimated that 1 out of every 2 children are being raised by parents infected with the sheeple virus. But there is a cure. For as little as 19 cents per day, you can become a TFR supporter and help children like me get their daily dose of truth. Together, we will make sure every child has protection from deception.
And then I see a picture, I say, Nancy Pelosi, well, where's her mask? And I'll tell you what, she must have treated that beauty salon owner pretty badly. She uses the salon and the salon turned her in. I was set up. Nancy, you're not supposed to get set up. I was set up. Nancy, you're not supposed to get set up. You must wear your mask. You have to wear your mask. You must wear your mask. You have to wear your mask. I was set up. Nancy, you're not supposed to get set up. How much do they hate Nancy Pelosi? This is the big crazy Nancy. Just like the biggest story. Highly overrated person. What did you say? They just turned off the camera because they don't want me saying that. And the salon turned her in. If she was set up, then she shouldn't be leading. You know what she should have done, honestly? She should have said, I made a mistake. And then she made a terrible mistake. I was set up. Nancy, you're not supposed to get set up. I was set up. Nancy, you're not supposed to get set up. You must wear your mask. You have to wear your mask. You must wear your mask. You have to wear your mask. I was set up. Nancy, you're not supposed to get set up.
As it turns out, it was a setup. So I take responsibility for falling for a setup. I don't wear a mask when I'm washing my hair. Do you wear a mask when you're washing your hair? I've been there many, many times. I always have a mask. Since we passed the bill, I always have a mask. Now I just had my hair washed. I just came out of the bowl. Now I just had my hair washed, and that's all I'm going to say.
I was set up. Nancy, you're not supposed to get set up. I was set up.
This is the Truth Frequency Radio Network.
We are TFR.
Truth Frequency Radio.
Okay, we are back. It is the top of the hour, 7 p.m. here on the East Coast. This is TFRlive.com, and we are on Trigenesis with Steve Zerilath. And my guest tonight is Sean Bond of the Psionic League, PsionicLeague.com. And we're having a great conversation about I think so far this conversation has been about, two people that have been, that were raised, by the almost the normal standards of society, which would have been okay, but that society didn't understand what we were, and we didn't understand what we were, and it's given us this gift to see the world differently and to be of great help to it, as we end up using the gifts that came along with this perception of reality. We were just talking about all this stuff about how the law of attraction works, and I was kind of wanted to move on from the law of attraction subject, but I wanted to make sure, Sean, that you got out everything you wanted to say about that subject before we transition, because I kind of wanted to talk a little bit, about some paranormal, stuff going on.
Sounds good, and looking forward to that. And what your questions will be. I'll just do a little short thing. And just going off the law of attraction, I'd say the only big thing is don't when any community says don't look at something, it is red flags for cult belief system and orientation towards something, as well as preventing a person from doing their shadow work and bringing the dark to light and diving into the dark truth so they can avoid danger, darkness. It's like becoming aware of a parasite, and then are you going to believe it's not there, or are you going to, and then try to pretend, wish it away, or have positive thoughts towards it not being there. No, you gotta face it. You gotta do what's necessary to overcome it. Face your fears, hug and love your shadow, and get it lighter and brighter, and until it turns on like a dormant sun in your body of the universe of the self. And then we become stronger, more resilient, and able to survive and dance around drama like nothing. And we got to do that with the bigger dramas of the world, because everyone wants to just ignore problems and think they'll go away instead of sweeping it under the rug. It gets worse. They don't, demons don't need you to believe they exist. Like the New World Order doesn't need you to believe they exist. Any group of psychopaths that like to hide in the shadow, that want to be like owls that can see in the night and do whatever they want while you don't know they're there. That's an evolutionary pathway that's been agreed upon in the ancestral lineage of DNA that we all hold. So there's things that we don't need to believe in that will manifest, that the ancestors have accumulated. There are reflections of everyone is a reflection of the universe, but people can sometimes go in a poisoned worldview into either complete solipsism or giving themselves away entirely to the matrix, like internal or external, and there's a balance in between that one needs to hold within themselves. And love, truth, oneness, getting past the ego, and becoming your greatest self, learning from everyone as if everyone's a teacher, but not holding to just one guru type of thing, will bring people to greater and greater awakening and freeing themselves all the mental prisons that the ego will hold us all in, and get past the gatekeepers. Yeah.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
kind of paranormal stuff you want to talk about?
Well, one of the things I was interested was, did you take a peek at all? I sent you a link a couple days ago to one of my videos where I do an overview of a vampire game. Did you watch any of that?
I watched one of the videos, and you mentioned what was it? You mentioned me in a call out. That was nice of you.
That
I
was,
don't think I
okay.
was
That was the Loki. That was the Loki review.
Yeah, the Loki one.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that one too, because I want to talk about the timeline wars. That's very that one's a big deal with me in my thoughts. Yeah, but I was also curious, and I wanted to ask first, because it ties in really nicely to talking about people like us with our abilities and stuff. When I was a nerd, in the late 90s through the 2000s and stuff, I loved, things like Dungeons and Dragons, as well as the lesser known Vampire the Masquerade and the other game settings in the White Wolf publishing circuit of that time. And when I went down the rabbit hole trying to study the enemy, and all the other things involved with it, I said, well, wait a minute, 13 bloodlines that rule the world, 13 vampire clans that rule the mortals in the world. And I'm starting to look at the parallels between what the game established lore and canon and mythos was, and looking at the real world canon and mythos. I'm like, dear effing God, this game already told me. And so one of the coolest things that happened at a certain point down the rabbit hole is when I sat there and I looked at the animist spiritualism stuff, and then I remembered my experience of playing Werewolf, the Apocalypse. This really, really triggered me, because in my head, I'm like, oh my God, what if I could be like a real werewolf? Oh, because in that game, the werewolves are good guys. There's evil werewolves that eat mortal men, but the werewolves that you play have an oath to Gaia and to the moon, basically, to not do that. They're guardians, right? There's a lot of Norse mythos in that. A lot of the stuff is based on the Ulfadnar, the Berserkers, and all that stuff, and it's entirely foundationed in animism. Everything is animism. Your characters have fetch items that have spirits in them, and all like all the market. You just do it up. You just do it up, and you have a whole spirituality. You're all shamanic warriors that turn into wolfmen. It's freaking cool. And I got to rush through my system because it's just like, oh, I want to be that, right? And and that got me like I'm jumping into things like meditation, qigong, watching every single thing I can about how psychic powers work. I just went nuts because I said, okay, if I'm going to do the magic to fight the evil magicians, wow, I just figured out my path because it was baked into some of the fun I had as a kid.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have some similar things with that. And did you ever have dreams of being a werewolf?
Not of being a werewolf, but I have dreamed of effectively being Iron Man, Spider-Man, or my own thing, but I was fighting alongside the Avengers. In 2012, I was having all sorts of visionary dreams. It was wild. 2012 was the wildest dream year I ever had. I had 2 or 3 UFO-based dreams, one in which involved a reptilian invasion that succeeded, another one not involving a reptilian invasion, but just an entire, the entire multiverse galactically descended upon mankind. Wait, no, that was the same dream. Okay, I'll tell you about that dream real quick. I died about 7 to 9 times or so in that dream because I kept resetting in the dream. Earth gets conquered by the reptilians. There's a force holding one side of an area. For some reason, there's now volcanic activity in this area that is in the United States, and there's this deep chasm. I have to sneak across this battalion after sneaking out of being caught in the first place, sneak into my truck. My truck is there in the dream. It's not the first time my own actual vehicle I actually drive is in the dream. I got a pretty strong relationship to driving with my car, so it's kind of like my horse, so it makes sense. And I drive across this ravine where there's a pit that falls into lava. Every chase, I fall and I die in the lava, or they catch me and they blow me up. But the last time I get to the end and there's a field and it's a blank starry night, I look up in the sky with the people that was in the car with me when we got to the end of the dream, and everything descends down. The Millennium Falcon, the Starship Enterprise, the Battlestar Galactica, you name the sci-fi like mothership and its little shuttles that come to Earth, they all showed up, materialized in the night sky, and then all of their ships landed. And everybody in humanity got to go into a ship of their choice. And I, oddly, instead of going on the Millennium Falcon, I went on a shuttle for the Enterprise. I'm like, and then when I woke up, I said, why did I go on the Enterprise? I'm not a Trekkie. I want to go where there's like Wookiees and the Force and shit. Why did I go over here? Right? But that's what I chose in the dream. But that one was a wild one. But most of my dreams were either
Did you want that replicator in simulation room?
No, I'd rather earn it myself through hard work and enjoying life. That's my thing, right? It's just like I may be used to. I don't have an affront to it. I'll put it to you this way. I do not want to be tempted by the devil, if you will, because technically the answer is yes, right? Technically the answer is yes, but I want to show the universe that it can't tempt me, right? If circumstances come in front of me and I don't feel corrupted by the offer to have it, or I figure out how to make one myself, which is not really what my mind works as, but I find someone I trust, like that guy made it. It's like, oh, I trust it because he made it. Like, I know that he's not going to program it to constantly give me digital poison, right? This is the level that I like to think at. It's a level. It's Odinic wisdom, right? It's like, what's the first line in the Havamal? It's when you walk inside a room, one should spy around, one should pry around and check all the corners. You don't know if there are traps and foes that are after you. Always get full situational awareness before you go into a situation. Don't close the door behind you and seal the deal until you've read every line of fine print in an offer, right? Which is why I thought it was weird that I chose the Starship Enterprise.
Yeah, that's interesting. So what point did you wake up from that?
That was like right after I got on the shuttle. So I didn't like see the Enterprise or anything. It's like I got in the shuttle with a couple of other people. I think maybe the people that were in the car with me went. And as soon as I was in the shuttle, that's when I woke up. And it was definitely mission accomplished. I felt fantastic at the end of it. Right.
Yeah. And like all in the dream realms, there's a lot going on. People don't like apply value in your dream as much as like what's going on physically, and understandably, because it has more matter here. But yeah, whatever you dream does matter in a lot of ways, because you'll get objects, you'll get ships, you get experiences. You'll meet your soul family. You get stuff that can then be held in your inventory, in your heart. You can have like a home base where you put all the things that you've gathered from other dream realms in one back at your fortress, and you hoard up on all this treasure and knowledge and wisdom and books and things that you can have an effect in this 3D. So if you got a ship, that's pretty good.
Yeah, exactly. It's the stuff that you build in your mind palace in meditation.
Yeah, there's you can mentally dream while you're meditating, and construct with that creative force into the dream realms. But you can also do it in the astral realms, in your own mental realms, or applied to something that's shareable with others, in like mental constructs that can be traded and all that. But yeah, there's a lot of layers. Yeah, and when you brought up the werewolf stuff, that I was like tuning into, like, oh yeah, I have similar resonance. When I was looking at werewolf soft disclosure in movies and videos and stuff, there's always a resonance, more so with that than a lot of other concepts that I would see, and relic species, etc. And for some reason that like has a big resonance with certain people. Some friends I know would be very wolf obsessed, to where they have like posters and pictures all over, and they're saying they're in a wolf. They're calling the friendship wolf pack, and I wouldn't say that's like a bad thing or anything. Right. It just like means a part of their personality, and it says more. Yeah.
I got a couple of things, right? Like I got a couple of things. Like I'm not like, it's not like I'm not like the guy you walk is like unicorn everywhere.
I'm not. I wasn't suggesting that.
Yeah. Like, but I do have a tattoo. I do have a tattoo of a werewolf on my pec, and I told the artist, give him a third eye that's open. So I got a werewolf with a third eye chakra. It's great.
That's great. The werewolf, yeah.
Yeah, the werewolf. Yeah. That was before the meme of the werewolf too. So yeah. I'll if you don't find a picture of it on my Facebook page or something, I'll take a picture of my tit for you.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, it is my favorite piece of ink on me. Pretty. I mean, they all mean something really special to me. But anyway, yeah. So like my time playing Werewolf the Apocalypse was like Animist training wheels. It was so great because like so many concepts just immediately made sense, to me, because I had already like done it as a thought experiment while doing tabletop roleplay with a bunch of friends. Some of which were also kind of tuned in. I did a lot of games where the DM was practicing Hindu paganism, right? And so like he had a relationship in his way with Shiva and Vishnu, Brahma, and all those other gods. He at least understood the mythos, and it was part of his love of Dungeons and Dragons and vampire and all that stuff. I don't know if he's ever turned that into anything more serious. I know that I've not heard of him doing anything more than trying to make a game and not getting it off the ground, as far as I know. Me, I'm not worried about getting anything off the quote unquote ground. I just do magic that makes me happy, and it doesn't necessarily make me wealthy, but that's going to change soon, I think.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Good to know that you're going in the manifestation. Yeah, and to finish on the werewolf thing, I also had a lot of resonance, and I was like wondering why, because after watching things, I'd have like dreams about it, and it's like, well, I better research this, and then I had I'd say that everyone that has that type of DNA or past life experiences would feel that is of significance. And if they're watching media and they have a high amount of emotions and tears come into their eye, or weird sensations and reactions to events that is displayed to them, that will be something for them to discover more about themselves, that's pointing in the direction of who they are in the past.
Oh yeah.
So I like, for me, like two medias that resonated a lot is the movie Van Helsing, and this show. There's like two of them, but more so the British one. It's like Being Human. There was like a vampire and a werewolf and a ghost roommate.
Yeah, I've watched a few episodes of Being Human. I remember Van Helsing. That one was fun. That one was a lot of fun. A show that I thought did a lot of good in its short run was what the heck's the name of it now? Amanda Tapping was the producer of it. It originally aired on the internet. Sanctuary. If you've never watched Sanctuary, watch The Independent season 1 and go through it. It's a similar concept to what White Wolf did with World of Darkness, where but with a different focus. And you play. I act like it's a video game. It's so experiential. It's like, because I had a really strong connection with this show. I thought it was exquisitely well written, and it put me right in the world I wanted to be in. Right, which is the real world, like today, or pre-awakening today, a few years ago, right? And all the supernatural things that you've heard about exist. Some of the main characters that are involved with this quote unquote sanctuary, which is designed to be a place to save spiritual, metaphysical, cryptid species. It's a secret facility that kind of is like an underground zoo, if you will, right? For like there's like a mermaid that was going to be hunted in its natural habitat because the humans were being terrible, and it's not the sanctuary's job to stop the humans, but it is their job to save the mermaid who is being threatened, right? Like this is like what each episode goes through. And then there's an overarching plot where there's a cabal who is trying to use the secrets of the world that Sanctuary is protecting to screw up mankind. And I forget a lot of the details of the plot. It's been a while, but Jack the Ripper is a character in it. Nikola Tesla is a vampire with the power of the ether, electrical power at his fingertips. He's a really cool anti-hero. They did Tesla real well. They cast a really good guy to play him. Sherlock Holmes was in it. Watson takes over his position because he's got the Sherlock Holmes gift, because he's Sherlock Holmes' son in the show. And it does all this stuff, and there's immortals and it's great. It's great. Go check out Sanctuary if you want to have a good time on that level. It's going to be a couple minutes to the break, just letting you know. So all these things, they trigger something, that like I'm attuned to, and it gives me something that I can, focus on and like look for the reality of. It's like, ooh, what's that thing I heard about in that show? And then I go on the internet and I do a deep dive, and then I order books if I find the books that I need to read to get to the meat of it. And that was a great deal of my experience. And so I went from like nerdily wanting to talk about something like some YouTuber who just like, oh, the new Marvel movie is great, to being like, okay, we're going to de-occult this new Marvel movie that I also happen to really like. And then I just stopped talking about Marvel movies, and I said, let's just be real, because it's a lot more fun, and Marvel sucks now anyway.
Yeah, I like this topic because there's a lot to it. When I was going down the rabbit hole and like going in more in that, there's a lot of resonance. I'd say everyone that has the resonance is going through a DNA activation, and their soul is having bunch of things go on in them that's unlocking and awakening. And it will start downloading things for them. Like for you, I read that you have werewolf DNA from a long time ago, so it's watered down, as well as a shamanic past life in like a native tribe. If you go down the rabbit hole of what inspired the some of the writing in that Twilight series, which I don't agree with everything. It's kind of weird, women love it.
It was too cringy for me to give attention to. Damn it! Don't make me look at that to get information.
I'd say about that for people to research. There's a tribe in the Seattle area or Washington State that
3 seconds to the break comes on. We're gonna get into all of that on the other side of the break. Be right back, guys. Thank you, Sean.
If you concentrate solely on your career, you can get a long way in your career. And I would say that that's a strategy that a minority of men preferentially do. That's all they do. They work like 70, 80 hours a week. They go flat out on their career. They're staking everything on the small probability of exceptional status in a narrow domain. It may be that unidimensionality is the price you have to pay to be exceptional at one thing. Right? Because if you're going to be something like a genius level mathematician, you're in your lab all the time, you're working 70 hours a week or 80 hours a week, you're smart, you're dedicated, you're unidimensional, and that's how you get to beat all the other people who are doing that. It's the only way. But the problem is you don't get a life. Now, well, first of all, you're a rare person, and second, you're going to pay for it. But fine, more power to you. But it's a risky business to do that. You sacrifice a lot for it.
Discover the extraordinary powers of intuitive healing with pain transmutation, a method of holistic healing for the human soul, body, mind, and emotions. If you are looking for answers and a deep understanding of how to help yourself and the people around you to live a happier, healthier life, this is the right place for you. Learn how to read your soul's history in the Akashic Records. Remove negative energy attachments from your astral body, and start the process of inner and outer pain transmutation. Join Pain Transmutation Community to get started on the path of intuitive healing. Change your energetic state, manifest new and exciting experiences, re-energize your life, and build inspiring connections with others in our community.
True initiation is an inward journey. It's a spiritual path that is totally inward. It has nothing to do with anything external to you.
I want to determine if the Grand Architect is indeed what I believe it to be, which is the artificial intelligence.
The initiatory path is one of self-discovery and self-revealing. It's not a journey that someone can hold your hand through.
Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, I want to take you through the steps of initiation. Remember, you are divinity.
Step Beyond the Veil with Chris and Sherry Geo. Fridays and Saturdays, 7 p.m. to 10 p.m.
Real people, real radio. Wherever you are, make it TFR. Truth Frequency Radio.
Welcome back to the show. Here we are, Zerilath on Trigenesis here on TFRLive.com. I have been talking to Sean Bond of the Psionic League, and our little conversation has also been an example. I'd say that this conversation has been a little bit of a demonstration of your talents, especially because you just gave me the short end of a reading after tuning in to me after I was telling you my story, and what you said resonated exactly spot on with with what I've been feeling on the inside. That's fascinating with the Native American connection. I'll have to go meditate on that. But I did know from prior works about some of the other connections, in a loose sense, my connection. There's a strong Scottish relationship with the Norse going on because that's coming through my father's soul code genetics. And then anything else wolfish going on would have to be coming somewhere out of the Italian side. My mother's soul code genetics. So I'm a little bit of I don't know how Roman to Etruscan I actually am per se, but there's got to be some Etruscan in there, I'd imagine. And so thank you so much for doing that little read on me. This is the last segment of the show, by the way, so I just want to remind, in interest of time, I want to make sure you're able to plug yourself by the end of the show. So just making a verbal mental note of that with you right now on the air.
Cool. Yeah, let me know when you want me to do the plug.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So you were just going through, before I had to cut you off, a little bit, pick up where you left off. Even I'm trying to remember right now, and I don't.
Sure. There's rabbit hole people can go down in researching. When they were filming Twilight, they went to a place in Seattle, and they were soft disclosing about a tribe that's a real tribe that they use some of the tribe for the filming of it. I don't know too much about it. I just got some details and rumors about it and people that were involved. So there's a real tribe that passes down the knowledge of, and in the movie they'll go into that the tribe shapeshifts into wolves, and it's like a passed down ability through their lineage. And there's some truth to that, because based on, if you ask the tribe, though, I honestly I believe they won't tell you the full truth of what they've experienced and held in stories passed down to them, because a lot of it's watered down, and some of the shape-shifting probably has been limited to a few members, as well as there's more expansion than just one tribe going back farther in history that I read that's passed down. There'd be a shamanic ability where beings would take psychedelics or go into a dream state, and they would dream themselves as an animal, and then find themselves shape-shifting into that animal in the physical. I read that you had that ability with wolves, as well as 13 other types of animals that you've demonstrated yourself to do in a past life. So you can look down that rabbit hole, but that's just one of the type of wolf shifting lineages I read into. There's of course the berserkers, like you went into, where they take mushrooms, and certain genetic lineage will let them transform into wolves, bears, or sometimes an ancient one that's like dragons.
Yeah, I'm currently working on a deep dive on the Northmen. I'm going to be making a Northman video on my channel, because I've watched that movie now 4 times. It really hit me hard in a beautiful way, and there's a lot of core wounds that are directly addressed, and gives you the opportunity to tap into, to heal, and to go further back on. And that whole movie is bathed in both Ulfidnar and Berserker tradition. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I love Viking movies.
Yeah, if you haven't seen The Northman yet, it is magic in action. You'll love it.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, there's a lot to be passed down the lineages of the 9 realms and Norse and the Aesir and Asgardians that find their way into human DNA lineages.
Yeah.
Well, that's one of them. There's the concepts of the one that's passed down in your lineage that from a long time ago seems to be from Middle Europe, like really long time ago, at the dawning of the fake history that we have, kind of thing.
Well, I'm part French, and I didn't realize until I started looking at how ancestral origins, family, tribal relationships, pre-Roman, pre-nationalism world, that French were a brother tribe. They're Germanic peoples, the Franks, the Gauls, etc. So I sat there and I said, oh, I do have a claim to Germanic paganism. Wow. So that made me feel fantastic, especially because I'm also Scottish. The strongest odds is that I'm a Norman. I'm a Norman Scot who also my Scottish descendant grandfather married a French woman from France that during the war, right after the war, if you will. And that's where my father comes from. And my whole family is pretty normal. I'm the weird one. My sister's a little weird, but she's too busy with life,
Yeah. A lot of people walking around are full of pain and been just covered in distractions that keep them from what they're truly here to do. And the ego prison is large on a large amount of people, and it goes back to a overarching ego consciousness that stopped being dominated. So it's hard to wake up in this world. So kudos for you. I also read that you have a lot of past lives with the Norse, like 30 Viking things you've been, and like 2 times you've been a shaman. You seem to have been a shaman on 6 continents, at least. At least once that I've seen.
Right. I must have been in Japan at some point. Was I in Japan?
Yes.
Good. That makes sense because I am such an otaku.
Especially during the samurai time.
Oh.
And there's a bunch that's camouflage, so I don't think I'm allowed to say that on air. But yeah.
Sure. Well, we can talk off air.
So there. Yeah, no problem. So the Berserker thing, and there's a lot of abilities that get passed down there, genetic wise, that we inherit. A lot of power stored up that can be opened up when we need it, or what triggers it, or like people that have ADHD will. It's like the negative title for that ability, but a lot of people from like Viking days had ADHD, and it would help them in battle to slow down time so they could more quickly make and observe the environment, and
that
take in data so they could act quickly and overcome their opponents.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's really nice when I'm doing my kickboxing sessions with my training partner. My training partner he's not like me. Like, he makes fun of me as a friend, gives me shit all the time for this for the fantasy world in my head. But then he'll also turn around, he says, I love how you have like a narrative for your growth, because he can't believe how enthusiastic I am about working out with him now, because like a year ago I was like a fat, low physical energy guy, high energy in general. I was always like really high energy, but I didn't put the effort towards exercise or anything like that, right? So like some of the material mastery of my life that I'm doing right now is having the effect that it needed to be. I was busy pursuing music, trying to pursue music until the end of 2020. I said to myself, I can't do this with this narrative in the simulation right now. I got to go fight a spiritual war because I either missed a boat or I was just too early, but music is not now, right? You know? And I hope that comes back to me because I love being the concept of a skald where my music does the magic. But right now I have to worry about facing spiritual wars in the everyday life. And that's what that's what this warrior in me, you know, I'm awakened into something quite nuts. You know, I just gave myself a rite of passage yesterday. Have you ever been to Breakneck Ridge off the Hudson Valley?
Oh no, I
it's
moved here.
It's a famous rock climbing spot.
Still an explorer.
Yeah, it's a famous rock climbing spot. Very popular. Yeah, and there's something about it that's interesting. It actually used to be called St. Anthony's Nose or something like that, and then it was defaced in like 1901 for reasons. And sometime after that, they started calling it Breakneck Ridge as a hiking trail because it's also a mountain climbing trail, rock climbing trail. Like I could have died yesterday. There's a couple of holy crap moments as I'm, you know, gripping poorly in a couple of places and I can't do a pull up yet, you know. I can do impressive things, but I can't do a pull up, right? So I was actually curious. I wanted to ask you if you knew something about that because there's something interesting about that spot, and I can't find any local lore that goes back to something some tribe said yet. So I was just curious if you knew something about it.
I don't, but I'd love to. I love exploring the area, and I go around tracking down places of power. So I've got onto a bunch of mountains so far, but yeah, like show me, and we should head up there, and we'll find out. And like,
yeah,
place of power and trade.
Yeah. Come do a solid.
Yeah, there's like crazy shit around here.
At the latest, I'm going back.
There's like hidden.
Yeah. At the latest, I'm going back this winter to climb it when it's icy and wet because I went once before and it defeated me. This was me coming back to mark my target for next winter, right? So there's a whole narrative that I go through. So I've turned this into an initiation ritual as a warrior to climb this mountain under the harshest conditions, right?
Cool. Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, I love doing that kind of stuff. And there's like some crazy stuff around here, but
yeah,
there's I guess everywhere there's like some hidden secrets. There's like rock walls everywhere. There's like a Stonehenge. There's like these crazy doorways that are like cut out in the mountain. There's
right. That's crazy that you found
like
that
big place of power.
Yeah. There's all sorts of interesting abandoned places, and it's just like some of them look like they're less weird and some of them look more weird. When I climb that mountain, I look at the way the rocks are cut. They say, excavators came in. These excavators didn't dig very deep into the mountain. It literally looks like their only job was to break the face apart. So either there was a monument there or a building there and they destroyed it, I think, because I'm looking at the stone and it looks like they broke what was already well-cut stone. That's what it looks like. Because if they were just going to break it apart, why does that whole chip, like, why is it square? Why is it like right angles like it used to be cubed, right? What does anybody climbing this mountain look at this and say this might have been a megalithic structure a long time ago? Like, no, they don't. They're just like, rocks, landslides. It's all crazy. But it's a coincidence. It looks like geometry and art, you know? It's quite interesting. I don't know how many people are really saying that, but you know, life is a magical adventure for me, whether I see obvious magic or I'm just picking it up in the intuitive field. But you know, either way, it's very interesting navigating around the normies when you're picking up on them all the time. Anyway.
Yeah, I agree. And there's some crazy things to find, and awesome place of power that like will change your life. And there's like little islands, and there's giant mounds that I've come across, and there's a guy Montauk has like pyramids, and
Montauk has
some sirens off the coast that like have made there's like underwater.
Yeah, I went to Montauk once, but I was just dropping off a customer when I was Ubering, so I didn't get a chance to really do anything else. But the place I've been to a couple times is Indian Well. There's a place called Indian Well, somewhere north of Milford, and that place is awesome. Good place to take a.
Oh yeah, what's there?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we should meet up sometime and go explore. And I also like like what you're doing, getting addicted to the working out thing and getting it in shape because of I'm trying to do super strength and unlock that. And I'm starting with infinite energy and learning how to summon a large amount of energy and compress it inward, and it increases my endurance, and I can just like work out all day. So it's fun. To combine magic with it. And each of the muscle groups that activate for a while can release a whole bunch of amplification to what you're wanting.
Yeah, I do qigong. I do qigong every morning after I stretch. So I've done yoga, then I'm right into qigong, right? So I've got really good energy flow through my kundalini and everything, and then my qigong practice focuses on the 3 Dantian points, and I do that for like 15 to 20 minutes every morning, and I'm a firecracker at the end of that. And then I jump in the shower and just kind of like bake the energy in, because like you're literally like got this weird, like if somebody knows what's actually going on, it's just like it's almost like your auric field is kind of crackling and sparkling with electricity. And you have to like literally like rub down your entire body. So I go and I take my shower right after my qigong because I have to rub down my body either way, right? And so that's been something that I do every day, because I'm doing a similar thing, right? I'm looking for a full energy field application, process, understanding all the little idiosyncratic mechanics. I've been listening to audiobooks of Carlos Castaneda lately, and that stuff has been perfect. He is writing it exactly the way I need to understand it to jump into a natural conception of it. The tendrils that come out of the navel, I just learned about that. Now that's applied to my qigong practice. Oh, it's so great.
Right. I'm glad that you know about that. And I also go into the navel and the super activations, the nourishment from the universe, the wheel arm tendrils, and that can influence chi. There's a lot to unlock. That's why I've been writing it all down and going to make a video project with also working with
tell us a little bit more about what your services do. Like, we've talked about a whole lot of things. Like, I got to be a little selfish today on the air, like there's a lot of talking about me going on, but that was all like a springboard for you to demonstrate, basically, by reading me. Talk about some of the other people, or not even the people, because that's confidential, obviously. But tell us about some of the other kinds of abilities that you bring out of people. That you've seen, different kinds of healers and artists, whatever talents that it may be. Somebody, it's like the X-Men. It's so complicated. Go ahead.
Cool, yeah, thank you. Yeah, one of my passions is tuning into people and bringing out their dormant gifts and abilities that they're so very good at. Whatever we love and generates the most excitement, love, and passion in our body, we become a genius at, and then we bring that out into the world. We'll talk about love, who you are. And then a lot of people don't know what it is because they haven't fully gone through the exploration phase, or there's not much reflecting that to them. So I like to do that and bring that out in them, as well as amplify their abilities, heal them. I'll usually go into like mostly physical body stuff for ailments because that will block a lot of them from their bigger gifts, and as soon as they take care of that, then start to open them up automatically. Once the body feels safe, the generators for all this type of rare energy feel safe enough, it starts opening up again. A lot of abilities. I'm putting out a list on it. There's so many that to discover in each person, and I've written them down. Things that resolve people, dehaunt people, their houses, depossession, entity interaction, telepathy, psychic tracking, reading books in the DNA, putting together ability blueprints, reading the Akashic record, reading soul, the DNA, pain, trauma, passed down, healing pain from a distance, resolving, transmuting, helping them let go of trapped emotions, resolving, targeting, going into their creative force and their ability to dream better, astral traveling, protection, offense, fortressing, becoming a greater locomoting, moving and shaking, manifesting force on this planet for positive manifestation. Love, opening up the heart again, happiness, manifesting their dream, resolving problems of any type, finding love, turning on their attraction and joy and their intelligence, memory retrieval, all types of meditations. I'm just going to keep bringing out more and more and show people that they have this power deep inside them, and anyone can learn.
So you've got everything you need to know to basically anything in someone's soul code genetics, or built into their. I think it's what's the other side of it? It's like soul code. It's your genetics, but then it's like your melanin. It's the melanin, right? There's power in the melanin, I think. Is that the other one?
Yeah, melanin is the like when the black people's superpower, their ability to absorb ultraviolet energy from the sun. And like as a super generator, there's also the mitochondria, the super factory of the cells that brings in a lot of force. It's like the midichlorian in Star Wars. There's
right.
There's a lot of
generators. You know what the midichlorians are actually based on? It's a play on two things that are in every like cell in your body. It's chloroform and the mitochondria. That's where they got the word midichlorian from.
Right, and I combined them. Yep. Mm-hmm. And there's also elemental bacteria, which I did a show on, that can generate different things, and as you turn them on symbiotically, there's a lot of secrets to energy generation, of bringing out of the potential void that contains all energy, or bringing it in like not in a vampiric way where you just take it, but where you cultivate it like a farm to generate more energy than it would regularly produce, so it is in greater trade with everyone.
All right, so we got about 90 seconds left before the break, so I wanted to make this the time to talk about that. And personally, I'd love to have you on again to get more into some of the stuff like the Time Wars. We didn't have time to talk about Time Wars. Ain't that ironic? But please plug it all, PsionicLeague.com, etc.
Sure. Yeah. My name is Sean Bond. You can reach me at the PsionicLeague.com, PsionicLeague.com, as well as Psionic League YouTube. I'm on Facebook as SeanBond, Sean Bond at Facebook, and Telegram and a bunch of other things. And I have a lot of videos, products that teach ability on my membership site, and do consultations and healings, and take people out of like near death or they wouldn't last through the night in hospitals. And a lot of the people that have ran through all their other options, they come to me and I can solve their problems.
Brilliant. All right, about 20 seconds left here. I want to thank you so much, Sean. This has been awesome. You know, you've intuitively confirmed that I was a werewolf and on a genetic level in a prior life, and now I get to live with the rest of my life, like, you know, narcissistically about that in a healthy way. Thank you so much, guys. We'll have you back very soon. I'll see you guys next week.
Woo!